Yo, 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 ladies and gentlemen, boy, the Democrats, y'all are losers and corrupt and dirty. The Democrats are in a lot of trouble, and Chicago is what we want to talk about today. And I want to show you this clip, Dr. Steve Turley, that I check out every day. He does a great job of presenting what's going on, and it's definitely on top of the Chicago deal. But Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson threatened the President of the United States. I can remember when I was a kid that there were certain things that you just did not say. And to threaten the President of the United States, that was something that you did not do. And these Democrats are off the chain. President Trump has all the goods. He knows that these people are corrupt. He knows that they cheat in elections. He knows that they are stealing tons and tons of money, and he knows that they're promoting crime, and they're paying people to protest in the streets. President Trump knows all of this, and the Democrats just keep coming up with more crap. But anyway, let's check out this clip.
Mayor Brandon Johnson stood at a podium on Labor Day and openly warned President Trump that he had better not send a single federal troop into his city. He had no idea he was about to trigger one of the most dramatic federal responses in modern American political history. Little did he know that within mere days, what started as defiant rhetoric from a failing Democrat mayor would escalate into a full-scale federal operation that could leave Johnson himself facing jail time and Chicago becoming the epicenter of Trump's massive immigration enforcement crackdown. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson just made the biggest mistake of his failed political career with a disapproval rating of an astonishing 80%, making him literally the least popular mayor in Chicago history. Brandon Johnson was a politician with nothing left to lose. His administration is overseeing a $2 billion budget deficit, all the while spending $300 million on illegal migrants. But instead of addressing these local crises, Johnson chose to pick a fight with President Trump. At his Labor Day event last weekend, Johnson openly defied President Trump's offers of assistance, and he actively declared war on federal authority.
Are you prepared to defend this land that was built by slaves, a land that was built by indigenous people, a land that is built by workers? Are you prepared to defend this land? The people united will always prevail. I need you all to stand firm, to stand strong if this president decides to continue to break this Constitution.
Now, aside from his embarrassing historical illiteracy, what you just heard there wasn't mere political posturing. Gang, that was open defiance of federal law. And he backed that defiance up by simultaneously signing executive orders that would bar Chicago police from cooperating with federal immigration enforcement. Now, Johnson's rhetoric and executive order basically are depicting President Trump's deliberation as to whether to send in federal troops to help clean up this economically and culturally imploding city. Johnson is depicting that offer as a full-blown invasion. Now, what Johnson failed to anticipate was the methodical nature of Trump's response. Rather than immediately send in National Guard troops, as Johnson expected, Trump instead crafted a more sophisticated strategy that would expose the mayor's sanctuary city policies as the public safety threats they truly were. And so yesterday, September 8th, the Department of Homeland Security launched Operation Midway Blitz, a targeted immigration enforcement surge specifically designed to counteract Chicago's sanctuary policies. It was named in honor of Katie Abraham, a 20-year-old Illinois woman killed by an illegal migrant drunk driver. And the operation sent a clear message to Johnson, to Chicago, and to the whole of the nation. Sanctuary cities will no longer be sanctuaries for criminals. And the left is having an absolute meltdown.
We're trying to prioritize public safety threats, but when you got governors and mayors who are releasing these public safety threats every day into the community, That causes the crime rate, and we've seen some terrible incidents in the last few days where innocent victims are murdered. This past year, I've seen innocent Americans raped and murdered by people who are not supposed to be here. So rather than going back and forth and say, well, ICE has got a car parked near a church, that is ridiculous. You're out there looking for people like this, exactly what they're doing.
Well, I would argue that actually the ICE vehicle parked outside a Spanish mass is a frightening sight, given what has happened in this country. I also, with respect, sir, thank you for the information that you have shared on this show, but we would appreciate all of the information. All of it. All of the data that you say you have.
I've done this show several times. Every time on your show, I speak with integrity, I speak with honesty, and I speak with facts. The bottom line is, because of all this false narrative, and you using the term disappearing people,
well,
is
that's
disgusting.
What's happened. That happened to the group that was sent to El Salvador.
U.S. citizens get arrested every day. U.S. citizens get arrested by police every day. Are they being disappeared? No, their laws are being enforced. They're being arrested. They're being put in detention because they committed a criminal offense.
Not like what you're doing.
Not even close. We're enforcing the law and arresting people here in violation of law that are public safety threats. That's not disappearing people. That's enforcing the laws of this country and making this country safer.
So as you just saw there, the legacy media, led by MSNBC, is openly taking the side of the criminals. They're openly taking the side of the illegal migrants. They are literally pushing back against enforcing the law of the land. That's why we say they're activists, not journalists. They masquerade as reporters when in reality, they're all about agenda-driven activism wrapped up in the appearance of news. They don't inform, they manipulate. Now, as you heard, Tom Homan made it absolutely clear that this federal operation is not just about immigration enforcement. It is a direct challenge of left-wing orthodoxy that prioritizes illegals and criminals over citizens and law-abiders, and is a systematic dismantling of sanctuary city facades all across the country. And Trump's responses could not possibly be better. He took to social media with his now infamous Chipocalypse Now post. Have you seen this? I guess I say Shipocalypse Now, featuring himself against the Chicago skyline and helicopters and flames, declaring that Chicago is about to find out why it's called the Department of War. I mean, seriously, this wasn't mere political theater. It was psychological warfare designed to demonstrate federal supremacy over local resistance. And within hours of that post, Fox News reported this.
The surge has begun. You can see the new ICE vehicles on the streets here in Chicago. We're just outside the Cook County Courthouse, but that surge is part of the ICE-led Operation Midway Blitz that they say is in honor of a beautiful young Chicago woman, Katie Abraham, who was killed by an illegal alien drunk driver back in January of this year. And while we are getting reaction from Illinois Senator Dick Durbin, who says that this blitz won't make Chicagoans safer, let me show you this video. Early this morning, I was out with one of ICE's teams, and we arrested this individual. His name is Juan Gaspar, and he is a 43-year-old illegal alien from Mexico. He has been convicted in 2024 of forcibly sexually assaulting a child under the age of 13. He was taken, as you can see here, without incident, but this is all part of the exact sort of violent criminal illegal alien that the ICE operations hope to bring in, apprehend, and ultimately deport.
So Operation Midway Blitz has brought hundreds of ICE agents to the Chicago area, with reports of up to 300 agents operating from the Great Lakes Naval Station. Federal agents began making arrests all across the city, targeting the very criminal aliens that Johnson's policies have been protecting. And it gets worse. What Johnson may not have fully understood when he signed his defined executive orders was the legal minefield he was entering. Federal officials, led by acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove, had already directed prosecutors across the nation to investigate and charge local officials who refused to comply with federal immigration enforcement. Johnson's executive orders, which explicitly prohibit cooperation with federal agents and demand that they stand down, they could indeed constitute obstruction of federal law enforcement, a serious federal crime. Republican members of Congress have already identified multiple federal laws that Johnson's sanctuary policies violate, and his public statements actively hindering ICE operations have created a documented trail of evidence. So,
Ladies and gentlemen, how stupid is that for the mayor to sign an executive order instructing the police not to cooperate with ICE and the federal authorities, including the National Guard, to crack down and shut down crime in the city of Chicago? I mean, how dumb can you be? And we also know that Chicago is corrupt, and Mayor Johnson and a few more people are probably about to go to prison. And y'all know how President Trump is. When he goes in 100%, and he is going to make sure that everything gets clean. It's going to be a clean house in the state of Illinois, including Fat Boy, Governor Pritzker. They all going down by the time President Trump get through cleaning up. Chicago would be a model city, guaranteed, just like D.C.
Ironically, it's Mayor Johnson that might find himself in handcuffs as a result of all this. Illegal migrants would be the least of his worries. Now, big picture, Operation Midway Blitz represents more than just immigration enforcement. It is a masterclass in political chess. Trump successfully transformed Johnson from a local nuisance into a national symbol of Democrat resistance to federal authority, and then systematically dismantled that resistance while exposing the human cost of sanctuary policies. The operation's success in making arrests while Johnson's policies actively hindered federal agents created a perfect contrast: effective federal law enforcement versus obstructionist Democrat politics.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Johnson is in a lot of trouble. He will be facing a lot of heat, and it's interesting to be able to see how this plays out. But for the people in Chicago, help is on the way. I appreciate y'all dropping in. I'm your host, Big Al, UncleCoon. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave us a comment. We'll catch you on the next one. Boom! Can't touch this.
Real deal. That gal on the mic, UncleCoon in the house. Drop the knowledge, stay true, no room for doubt. From debates to celebs, we cover it all. Tune in, hit subscribe, you don't want to miss the call. Real deal. Al UncleCoon, bringing the heat. Every episode's fire, can't be beat. Hit that like, share the vibe. Join the fam, come along for the ride. Politics, pop culture, and everything between. Big Al's got the scoop, you know what I mean? From Harris to Trump, we break it down. Common sense talk, the best show around. Real Al UncleCoon, bringing the heat. Every episode's fire, can't be beat. Hit that like, share the vibe. Join the fam, come along for the ride. Cash App, show some love, support the grind. Big Al's on the rise, one of a kind. UncleCoon Podcast, the place to be for real talk, real folks, and real TV. Real Al UncleCoon, bringing the heat. Every episode's fire, can't be beat. Hit that like, share the vibe. Join the fam, come along for the ride.